Welcome back to Las Vegas. It's Alex Belfield talking to the stars of the strip, and one of my favourite shows ever is Jersey Boys. It features the songs of Frankie, Valli and the Four Seasons, and the two big stars, Travis Cloer, how are you?
I'm very good, how are you?
Very nice to see you, and of course Deven, how are you doing?
I am fantastic.
Let's talk about the bird that's in the ceiling. Where's this whistling coming from then?
That's a very good question. I thought that was in my head.
I don't hear anything. I don't hear anything at all.
Is this part of the show? Is this the warm-up song or something?
It is, yeah. This is where we start our vocal warm-ups with the bird.
Tell me about you, because I said this last year to all the Frankies. I'm always amazed how you do the show, especially in this place, because it vocally pushes you to another level, doesn't it?
It pushes you to another level and then takes you to the level next to that one. It's rough, man. You know, you got to live like a saint and take care of yourself and just, you know, put the show first.
And of course, Deven, you get to do 8 shows a week.
Yes, yes.
And you get to do how many?
I do 4, and the other guy, Rick Fogno, does the other 4.
So really, they're doing half the work. Do they get half as much as you do in terms of financial compensation?
I would have no idea.
You've really got to work hard, though. I mean, banging out 8 shows a week is almost unheard of. I mean, only in Vegas could you work this hard. What strain is on you?
What strain's on me? Well, as you can see, I've stopped the cricket in your head. Yes, that's one ability that working in the desert gives you. It's really, you know, it's really just about having to deal with this vast expanse of sand and olive trees and all this crazy stuff that, you know, it's a new allergy every other day during the spring and the summertime that gets to us. I know Travis, myself, everybody has to try to, you know, leap and jump and dance around their voices to try to get through singing the show with these allergies. So that's really what weighs on us, but we do it. Mm-hmm. We freaking do it, man. And what's great about your role as Tommy is you've got the story, really. You're the guy that causes all the trouble. Yeah, well, if it wasn't... And there's my cue music right there. No, if it wasn't for Tommy, you know, there really wouldn't be, in my opinion, there wouldn't be a story, because, you know, there would still be the story of the success of the Four Seasons, but you wouldn't get this tasty tidbit of you know, gossip from the 60s and the 70s that no one knew about, because we didn't have TMZ, we didn't have Tatler, we didn't have, you know, the Weekly World News or anything back then, not like this. And yeah, Tommy is the cog in the wheel. If it wasn't for him, I think there wouldn't be a story, at least as fantastic a story as there is. I tell you what I love about it more than anything, the line in the show, Travis, when they talk about it was all done on a handshake. That's old show business. Doesn't work like that anymore, does it? No, it doesn't, and that is all 100% true. They shook hands. They've never once signed paper, and today that wouldn't fly. You'd get a lot of stuff going wrong if that happened. I was lucky enough to be here last year for the 2nd anniversary. It's in fact the 3rd anniversary today, and I got to meet the boys, and the show was done with the same handshake. There's no paperwork for this either, is there? Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's who these guys are. You know, they're straightforward. They're honest with each other, and they're friends, and they respect each other. I think that's first and foremost. Is it always freaky when Frankie sat there in front of you and you're being him? It's a little weird, you know, when you're playing somebody so iconic. You know, you feel not only the pressure to do well by him, but everybody in the entire world knows what this guy sounds like. So it's a lot of pressure when people are coming here to hear these songs sang in a particular way. And of course, for those that don't know, this is how the Jersey Boys got together from New Jersey to ending up being an international sensation. And you kind of drive that story, because you're the hard-nosed businessman, whereas Frankie's just the guy with the voice. Yeah, Frankie's the talent, and I think Tommy is the legwork. And until he hands the reins over to, or they get taken away from him by Bob, who really is the talent behind the talent. I mean, if it wasn't for Bob Gaudio, there wouldn't be a Four Seasons sound. He's the engineer behind all of that, and you know, Frankie was his muse. At least that's how I heard it. And but no, Tommy's there. He's pushing Frankie. In the early days, you know, he made Frankie get up and sing. Frankie was in bed, you know, all these things. He forced him to do all these things, because I think out of one, Tommy wanted to make money off of Frankie because he was a talented little guy, but two, you know, Tommy wanted to be famous. Tommy, you know, that was the only way to get out of his Depression era, you know, upbringing, where he had, you know, steal candy to feed the kids, or to, you know, to sell so he could get money so he could feed the kids in his own family or on the block. He really actually took care of a lot of his little section in Belleville when he was from a very early age. So So I think he did the same thing with Frankie. You know, he was a mentor. I don't know how good of a mentor, but a mentor nonetheless.
And again, you said it earlier, talent behind the talent. I asked Frankie the question last year, what's more important, the songs or the voice? What's your take on that?
God, that's a good question, because I've heard a lot of great singers sing some crappy songs, and vice versa. You know, you hear these great songs that just don't have the vocal power behind them. So that's God, that's I think they kind of go hand in hand. You know, to make it a true hit.
And I was just saying to someone earlier, you get into this show the first time and you go, I didn't know they wrote that. I didn't know Bob wrote that. Hang on, that was done by someone else. I didn't know that was one of his records. That's the joy of this show, the surprise of every other number.
Yeah, and there's a page in the playbill that lists, unfortunately, all the great songs that people love that we just didn't have time to put in the show, or else it had been, a 4, 5, 6 hour show.
Exactly. And what have they done with the Vegas show? I know a lot of them, they're chopped down to 90 minutes. They haven't done that with this. There is an intermission, but it's a bit shorter.
Yeah, it's an 8-minute intermission, and we do that, basically because we have to change some stuff around, and we also have to change clothes. And it would mean adding, I guess, it could have meant, in a possible world, I have no idea what they were thinking, but it could have meant in some way that they would have had to have added a number, if we didn't have an intermission, so we could go into the second act. And that's just my sort of imagining of what it was, because I was never told how and why they cut the show the way they did. But for this show, it's a word here, it's a word there. You're not missing any of the original script, really. And there might be a verse of a song, but the reason that it's been pared down a little bit is just so it could be Vegas slick. You know what I'm talking about? Absolutely.
Well, I said this last week about Phantom. Thank God they chopped an hour out of that, because that's one of the most boring shows in the world till they brought it to Vegas.
That's good to know. I do like the way that the show flows over there now a lot better. It stops, it goes, and it just takes you where it needs to take you.
Venetians seem to have good judgment, because the one rule is musicals don't work in Vegas other than with Phantom and seemingly Jersey Boys.
Well, there have been some successes here. We did have Hairspray that was quite a success here. I know that Avenue Q had a short run here, and I know that a long time ago, back in the 90s, I think they did Chicago here for a while, on and off. But it's been, I love that we have the ability to gather such immense talent in this town and be able, for live shows. It is the it is the entertainment capital of the world, and I'd like to see it. Beat out Broadway. I'd like to see this be Broadway West, because it's so much more accessible. It's so much more affordable. A family can come here. A family of 4 can come here and see a show, and stay in a great hotel and stay here for 3 or 4 days, and maybe it's $1,000. You go to New York and the flight and one night in a hotel. That's well over $1,000. And then tickets to go see a show. I mean, come on.
Tell me about the audiences when you look out there, because it makes me nervous that some of them might be a little drunk or confused or dazed. Does that ever happen at Jersey Boys?
It makes us a little concerned sometimes too when we look out and see that, because we do indeed do just that, But at the end of the day, you just got to take what's thrown at you and do your job. And we've had some interesting times where the audience gets a little talkative
just
to you.
Lately, just lately. We were doing the show the other night, and there's a moment where the name is revealed that that it finally comes to be. The Four Seasons name is revealed. And while this is happening, there's a long pause. Hopefully no crickets, but a long pause. And someone in the audience, who I guess had their fill of grog, had said basically just looked up at the scene and said, "Take it!" Right at the moment when when the punchline is coming. I'm just about to say it, and we're all standing. Yeah, and so it's stuff like that has happened a lot.
We also get people that really are having a great time and just truly are enjoying themselves and are singing along and dancing along with us and just having the time of your life. And when you look out and you see that, this job in itself, justifies being a performer. But when you look out and you see that, you're realizing you're making so many people have such a great time. It fills you with this feeling that it just cannot be explained.
We just had a family that actually comes here from New Jersey. This is their 13th time seeing the show. She's been here, I think, for her birthday a few times, and she was just here for her birthday. She just turned 79. They're from New Jersey. They live across the river from the Jersey Boys Theater in New York, but they come out here to see us. And that's pretty special, I think, having somebody from Jersey who grew up around the same time coming out here to Vegas to see us. Maybe she's got a gambling problem, but I think it's more that she loves the Jersey Boys in Vegas.
Exactly. It's all about you. And what worries me, Travis, about you is getting fat in this town, because there's a lot of buffets. We can't have a clinically obese Frankie Valli, can we?
No, we can't. And I try to stay away from the buffets. You know, I try to eat nice and right at home, and just, you know, like I said, that goes along with taking care of the voice, is taking care of the full body, you know, and giving it time to heal. And if you're filling yourself with a bunch of junk like that, it doesn't really, kind of defeats the purpose. So
I want to ask you both the same question finally, that feeling of standing on stage with a pin focus aimed at you, and then you get to sing these big numbers. Is this every performer's dream, to get to a show of this standard with a live band and the audience, and being in Vegas headlining with the big billboards?
I can, I guess, just speak for myself and saying that it was indeed my dream. And, you know, and this particular role is, you know, one in a lifetime. You're singing so many great songs in so many great ways that people just go nuts over, you know, and it's a fantastic thing. It's something I'm very thankful for and feel so very blessed for.
And what about you?
Yeah, I mean, Tommy is not necessarily the songbird that Frankie is. I do get to sing in the show, but I you know, being from a background where I sang some stuff that was, you know, along the lines of Frankie, you know, Bat Boy and some other things that was really high up there. This show for me is not only about appreciating the music, but it's also about getting to really sink my teeth into some amazing acting, you know, in this show. The characters, the people that I get to work with, and the characters that we get to play. I mean, come on, you know, it's like doing and this is me just quoting me, but it's like doing Goodfellas every frickin' night. You know what I mean? You know, but with the seriousness, and with the true spirit of these fellas, I think. That we get to embody them and get to play them. I know it's getting a little heady right now, but I'm getting a little emotional because I was listening to Travis and I was like, you know, yeah, expletive, he's right, because there's this dream that we get to live out. We get to keep living it, you know, every night. You get to keep living it. That's pretty special.
Well, and also there's 4 lead roles and about 40,000 people wanting your gig, so they've had many opportunities to change you, haven't they?
Yeah, no, I mean, it's a coveted job. I'll say that much. You know, I think right now in this economy, you know, there's a lot of coveted jobs. I know that. I'm very thankful, and I couldn't imagine a better way to spend a few hours a night, you know, in front of, you know, 2,000 of our closest friends that we get to laugh and yell with and scream with and cry with. So it's pretty cool.
Well, don't tell the other boys, but I think you two have got the best gigs in the show, because you've got the drama and, of course, you've got those big numbers with the big notes. How are you feeling at this point, a couple of hours before you go on a scale of 1 to 10, where's the voice?
I'd say probably around a 6 or 7. I got a little ways to go to get up to 10, but I'll get there. Still got a couple hours.
There's some pretty high notes, aren't there, this evening?
Yeah, the range is it's one of the this role literally uses every single millimeter of your voice, from the lowest all the way to the highest of the high and everything in between, and it's hard to bring that every night. You know, you bring 100% of what you got, but you just, like I said before, you just really got to take care of yourself and really devote yourself to your craft and keep your head on straight.
And it is authentic, this show. That's the point that I really should make. It isn't a nice Disney kind of pepped-up musical that's all nice around the edges. There's some pretty strong language in it, and it's quite direct at times, isn't it? It
is quite direct. I mean, these guys grew up, you know, using these explicatives. That was just their language. They weren't talking, you know, to be hoodlums or anything like that. But we use some pretty authentic dialogue and keep it true to what it is. And I think that's what helps make it a success. Congratulations on being in this fantastic show. It's called Jersey Boys, on at the Plateau in Las Vegas. And Deven, good to talk to you again.
Nice to talk to you as well.
And Travis, good luck tonight, and thanks so much for the interview and bringing us this fantastic role of Frankie Valli.
My pleasure. Anytime.